Thousands of people go missing every year, but as sad as that is, most cases have perfectly logical explanations, like foul play, accidents, or people just starting over and realizing they'll never pay back their payday loans. But then there are those disappearances that just don't make a lick of sense. The kind where the pieces to the puzzle only seem to form a giant middle finger aimed straight at your own sense of skepticism. Like in these following cases. The Sodder children. On Christmas Eve, 1945, the Sodder family was asleep in their Fayetteville, West Virginia home when a fire erupted, trapping 5 of the 10 Sodder kids upstairs and sadly taking their lives before firefighters could arrive. At least, that's what the fire chief claimed to have happened, despite no bodies or bones being uncovered from the rubble. This prompted George and Jenny Sodder to declare that their children still could be alive, and then they burst out in tears. Is there anything more heart-wrenching than the reality-clouding grief of a parent who had lost their children? Yes, the lack of bones is weird, but there must have been a rational explanation. Likewise, there must have been a rational explanation for the fact that when George Sodder tried to drive his truck near the house in hopes of climbing up to the top to it and reaching the second floor, the engine wouldn't start. And as for the family being unable to call the fire department in the time because their telephone lines were apparently cut, But the story still gets weirder. In light of all the bizarre circumstances of the tragedy, the Sodder family remembered that, sometime before the fire, they were visited by 2 strangers making not very veiled threats about their house burning down and their kids dying. One of the men who posed as an insurance salesman even said to George, an Italian immigrant, that he would pay for the offensive comments he was making about Mussolini all around town. Definitely suspicious, but not nearly as suspicious that the same insurance salesman later served on the coroner's jury that deemed the Sodder fire an accident. Others soon came forward saying they saw a man outside the Sodder house carrying a block and tackle, which could be hypothetically have been used to temporarily disable a car. Also, the Sodders later found a weird rubber object in their yard, which George claimed was actually a napalm bomb, which could hypothetically have been used as a napalm bomb. But wait, aren't we just listing evidence seeming to point to the gruesome murder of 5 innocent kids by the hands of Italian fascists? Maybe not. A waitress at the roadside diner and a woman at the Charleston Hotel later claimed that they saw 4 of the 5 missing kids with a group of Italian-looking men and women who wouldn't let them speak to anyone. Sadly, their tips did not lead anywhere, nor did the photograph Jenny Sodder received in the mail 20 years later supposedly showing one of her children. So, was it kidnapping? With no ransom demands or anything? Was the fire unrelated to threats? Were children's remains in the rubble of the house impossible to find amongst the rest of the debris? Is there some other much weirder story that the Sodder family simply refused to share with the police? We all know that every possibility is still disturbing. I personally think Italian fascists burned down their house, trying to kill their children as a statement because this was often practiced by mafia. But I would like to know what you think. Tell me in the comments below.